Hello there everyone, today we're going to take a look at Rampage Knights by Rake In Grass, strange name. Well, any of you who have watched my channel for a while know that I like roguelikes and roguelites very much, and for those who don't know, the whole roguelite term has been coined for games that use roguelike elements, lots of random generation, permadeath, etc., but that aren't actually applied to full-on roguelikes, as in, tile-based, turn-based, all that stuff. And I really like that kind of theme, and we're seeing more and more of that being applied to different genres now, and it's getting pretty creative. We've seen the kind of evolution, I guess, in a fairly short period of time of things like this, from the standard starters of the sort of genre like Binding of Isaac to things like roguelite FPS, like the very Hexen and Heretic-like Ziggurat, which is awesome, and even a roguelite 6 Degrees of Freedom game that I just did by the name of Sublevel 0, but now we're seeing a very unique take on the whole roguelite thing being applied to a brawler, and that is Rampage Knights. So as you can see, it has local and online co-op, which is a huge deal, but for now, since I'm a lonely soul, I'm going to show you the single player. And this is how it looks. Very interesting art style, strange, very strange, and let's just jump in. So essentially, this is your hub, this is the camp. You start here every time you die, in full-on permadeath style. You can technically die once and still live, unless you get extra lives. As you can see, I have those little 2 lives up there in the top left, but in this case, this isn't one of those games where 0 counts, so when you die on 1 life, you're gone. There are multiple classes to choose from. I have 3 of them unlocked right now. The Adventurer is just very basic, nothing really special about them, as you can read there, boring, but effective. Then you have the Barbarian, which is who I am right now. They have a different set of, basically all of these have a different set of strengths and weaknesses. And I just unlocked the Pirate, which seems interesting. The Barbarian has really good strength and more health, but is a bit slower, uses this really slow but long weapon, and doesn't wear any armor. Just will not do it. Pirate, on the other hand, has lower health, but it can use a cannon instead of dashing. I don't know if I'd like that or not, because the cannon is useful. Also, it's got rum that it won't replace, of course. It does regen while drunk. It's got a parrot that attacks monsters, and peg legs, so it can't wear boots, but it has better kicks. We're gonna do the Barbarian just for the first part of the video, but I'll probably switch to the Pirate later. So, this, as I mentioned, is a brawler, and you can also, by the way, customize the look of your male or female character. This shows you different various achievements for unlocking classes and, well, other achievey thingies. And you also have hats, which is very important. And a difficulty setting, which you can unlock in various ways, including Insane, which is ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, Brawler. Let's just go. Dark Castle this way. The game has a very, very good combat system. It is very, very Brawler-esque, as you would actually expect, and yet it has these roguelike elements in it, including permadeath, lots of items, and the classic Binding of Isaac roguelite style, meaning you get various passive and active items and effects that help to create an overall build for your character that's different every time. And of course, the levels themselves are also laid out differently every time, with different types of encounters, different groups of enemies, and different special things that you could find. Everything from haunted inns to eldritch altars you can sacrifice things to mini-boss fights. I once found an Iron Maiden that had like a ridiculously powerful demon like mini-boss in it that you didn't actually have to fight. You could just walk past if you wanted to, but I decided to fight it because of course I did. And it had really, really good loot in it, but it was really hard. Things like this. As you can see already, the combat system is pretty effective for what it does. You have a variety of moves. You've seen me doing things like juggling people into the air, throwing people around, kicking them, stomping them. You have charge attacks, you have dash attacks, shield breakers, block kind of breakers. You can pick up and throw lots of things, tables, chairs, barrels, explosives, and the enemies themselves. And the weapons and items you're equipped with will very much change how you actually play. So you'll find these chests along the way, which are your general best source for items and things, and you have to do this lockpicking minigame. Pretty self-explanatory how that works, but if you fail it, you can get injured, so be careful, and they actually hurt you a lot. You can't take a huge amount of punishment in this game. And I found some dirty medicine. one of the best healing items in the game at 50 HP. The normal health potions only give you 20, but it gives you a random disease when you use it. So you gotta, of course it is in classic roguelike style, very risk-reward. The diseases in this game are interesting. Everything from being unable to stop jumping, being unable to stop running, turning your head into an ass, as in a butt or a donkey, both are valid, and even making you really tiny, which can actually be somewhat nice. I'm gonna take it, and it gave me ass disease. I'm a donkey now. Good. Now I make donkey noises, and for about 6 screens, as you can see that little 6 up there in the top right, that shows you how many sort of screen transfers, take that, the actual disease will last. Beneficial and negative effects have a duration, usually in sort of screen transitions, but you can't run them out by going back and forth between screens you've already been to. That doesn't count. It's essentially like rooms in Binding of Isaac. There we go. As you can see, there's already a fairly good amount of enemy variety, and it only goes up as you continue through the various types of levels. You always start in this forest. Occasionally you'll find a cave in the forest, but not every time, and then you go on to the actual castle courtyard itself and continue on through various bits of randomly generated goodness, including tombs, all kinds of stuff, really. So you have an inventory screen, but it's fairly basic. You can only hold a very specific number of things. You can hold one spell or magic object. You can hold throwing weapons of only one kind. You can have multiple of them. As you can see, I have 4 throwing daggers, but if I pick up these, it will replace the daggers. So I can only hold one type. I like the daggers. They're pretty strong. And there are also scrolls, which are temporary magical effects, and potions of various kinds. Now, this is one of those risk-reward things as well. I could get very good items from these usually, but when you take them, you get struck by lightning and take a bunch of damage, so it's kind of up to you whether or not you want to take the item. And again, just as you would expect, this little altar thing isn't something you actually find on every single trip through the forest. There's actually a really solid amount of variety in the kind of events and things that you'll find throughout your adventures, and that's good. It keeps you going. I don't really want that, to be honest. I'm not willing to take the damage for that, so I'm just going to continue on. You'll find various types of chests along the way that each contain different types of loot. Usually the more fancy chests have more gold and more powerful items in them, and occasionally... Whoops. There we go. And occasionally you'll also find things like magical items, books, spells, etc. And I got a health potion there as well. And some murky water, which looks suspicious, and I'm not going to deal with that. And that is the first level. We're now moving on, and I didn't lose life, although I am hurt. In fact, I'm just going to go ahead and heal, because these only heal you for 20 anyway, and here we go. Now, I like brawlers. I like brawlers a lot, but I'm also, as a lot of you probably know, a very variety-driven gamer. I like a lot of variety in my games, be that enemies, items, weapons, skills, whatever it be. I like a lot of it. And one thing that brawlers tend to suffer on, if you're not careful, is repetitiveness. They can be very, very repetitive. A lot of people, claim Golden Axe is that. It was good at the time, but looking back on it, it's fairly repetitive, and I'd have to agree. It's a good game, but it does have some problems with repetition. For some people, that's totally fine. For others, it can get annoying. And for me, I really like a lot of variety. So applying the Rogue-lite kind of ideas to a brawler is pretty much perfect for me, because it implies something that I really like, combined with something that could make it a lot better for me personally. And that is, a variety-driven brawler with a lot of different things to do every time you do a run. That's good for me, but of course some people aren't going to feel the same way. So I guess it's really up to you, but I enjoy the idea. And I think it's executed very well. One thing you might notice, by the way, is that this is one of those few handfuls of games on Steam that actually has the overwhelmingly positive rating, which is pretty sweet, actually. That doesn't happen a lot. There aren't a lot of those. So if you find one, generally that's a pretty good thing. Let's see. That sounds useful. An arcane orb. Oh my, I'm getting all kinds of stuff. I've got a better weapon now. Weapons have a damage rating and extra effects sometimes. You can find poison weapons, fire, ice, weapons with high crit chance, fast speed, short range, all kinds of different modifiers and things, which is really cool because, again, variety in a brawler. Very, very key to actually making it enjoyable for a long period of time. I'm going to go ahead and drink this jumping potion. It gives you jumping disease, which makes you jump uncontrollably, but if you're able to last long enough for it to run out, which in this case looks to be about 4 screens, you permanently, well, for that run, permanently gain double jump. Oh god. Now, there are various tougher enemies you'll come across, like the giants. Giants are pretty tough. Okay, so that can hurt you a lot. It's really cool, though. Magic in this game is, not all that common, per se. There are a good variety of items, but you don't come across them all the time. You've got to be really careful about what you choose as well, considering you can only have really one of them. But in this case, since I've got some pretty good stuff going on and lots of throwing daggers, I was able to kill that enemy fairly easily. And as you can see, the rooms can be laid out in a significant variety of ways. There are pitfalls of all kinds, enemy groups of many sorts, and sometimes other hazards like traps, grates of fire, all kinds of stuff. And the pitfalls are absolutely brutal because all you have to do is make one tiny mistake, fall down a single time, and that's one life gone entirely. I really like this arcane orb thing. Magics tend to take different amounts of mana per cast, and also your mana will regen at a different speed depending on which type of magic you have equipped. The arcane orb doesn't take too much per try, but it does have quite the build-up time to actually make it strong. And I missed. Good. So I think you probably already are getting the idea of this game. It is a very solid effort. I'm happy to see that it's got such a good reception on Steam because it's unique. I've never seen a roguelite philosophy applied to a brawler before. And I'm a big fan of that because I'm desperate enough to drink it. Oh god, now I have multiple diseases. Good. But I've just never seen that genre combination applied yet, and since I like both of those an awful lot, I was very excited to see how it would turn out. And as it turns out, it works really well. And it helps, of course, that Rake In Grass knew exactly what they were doing with this and made it very solid. They have a good number of mechanics and systems in place that allow you to vary up the combat system enough to make it not too repetitive. A lot of moves and item and weapon variety to help keep that repetition, out of the picture, and a good dose of the classic roguelite nonsense from just dying from something really stupid that you really should have been able to prevent if you were paying enough attention, to a lot of very good risk-reward style mechanics where things can work out for the better, if you're careful. Like the whole jumping disease giving you double jump thing. In that case, I was one screen away from getting it, but I got killed, so that does not count as overcoming the disease. And also there are shielded enemies. Shields can be broken with a dash like that, they can be broken with a jump attack, and there are even some weapons that have a modifier that means every attack actually breaks shields. I got one of those from that mini-boss once. It also had like huge knockback intended to send enemies flying. And the combat system is actually really visceral for a brawler. It is, you can send dudes flying across the screen, they actually take damage when they hit things, which is really satisfying, and you can even throw them into other enemies, which you may have seen. And also the ability to just pick up random crap lying around and throw it around is good. Definitely a very good thing. Even these candelabra things here, I can just throw them around for no real reason. They do a good amount of damage, though. And you can stomp and kick enemies, and yeah, there's really solid variety in the combat system, and that's probably one of the highlights of the game, which is what you would hope for a brawler, because that's kind of, a necessity to make it good. And I've got to say that they really did make it good. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, and I'm very happy with what they've created here. I've just never seen a roguelite brawler before, and for the kind of early tries at this sort of genre combination, they did a fantastic job. The overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam don't lie. They're there for a reason. And the game has seen extra support in terms of updates and things, and there may even be more content coming, and who knows, maybe they'll even make a DLC. That'd be pretty sweet. Oh god, I'm in a kitchen. You can smack that roasting creature thing for a bunch of drumsticks to fall out for extra healing, which is always good. Ow. Hopefully, you'll see more updates to this, and more content in general. I wouldn't say that the game is content light, it's just that what's there is so good that you can't really help but ask for more, I guess. And they do seem willing to very much deliver on things of that sort. So what's currently here are a very good number of items and enemies to mess around with, a fairly significant number of different levels that all have their own kind of themes and types of enemies and hazards that you'll come across, including sort of random events, like this kitchen thing that always shows up. Well, it shows up in this third level, but it doesn't show up every time. Just like how in the first level, occasionally there's a cave den that you go into, things like that. It does the classic rogue-lite thing of having these kind of event rooms that may or may not show up on a given run. It's good. I really like it a lot, and I'm hoping to see more from them. I would very happily enjoy a DLC to this because of what's actually available is so well done that I think many other people that have played and enjoyed the game would trust the company to make a solid DLC that actually continues to add a lot more to the game and would happily pay for that. The game is also at a very, very reasonable, in my opinion, asking price. It is only $12 on Steam. And for the amount of stuff that you get, that's hard to argue with, really. It's good stuff. It's, I would say that, you know, more everything wouldn't go amiss, of course, but at the same time, what's here is very, very good, and I've got really no complaints about it. It's not a perfect game, and it's not going to be for everyone. Not everyone enjoys brawlers, not everyone likes the whole roguelite thing, but if you enjoy either of those, really, this game does it so well, and it's such a unique spin that hasn't really been seen before, that it would be a shame to pass it up without giving it a shot. So this is Rampage Knights, everyone. I'm going to try and make it a little farther, maybe show you the just an example of different gameplay with the pirate class. As you can see, this particular class has a dodge. Most classes have a dodge. It gives you some Dark Souls style invulnerability frames, but the pirate apparently has a cannon instead, which sounds interesting. Demons don't seem to care all that much about getting hit with magic. There we go. Let's see what's in this chest really quick. Maybe I'll find an awesome weapon or something. It's always a joy to get something new. Oh, I could use that healing and not the disease, but we'll see what it gives me. Maybe I can find some alcohol or something to burn off my diseases. Shrinking disease, great. Well, on the plus side, that might actually make this magic easier to hit things with, he says as he blows himself up. Oh god. Let's, I might just go ahead and die, actually, just to show you the other class before I go. I think I'll do that, actually. Hate to waste a run, but whee! And life lost. Very thirsty. And there we go. So as you can see, permadeath. Let's see really quickly how the pirate works. There we go. I've got a lovely parrot. Looking good. Let's go for it. Also, I have a cutlass. And what's my damage like? Not great, but good enough. It's probably faster than that fantasy sword. Here we go. Also, rum. The rum actually, I believe it burns off diseases and poison, but it makes you drunk, which makes your controls go all wonky for a couple of rooms. Alright, so if I dash... Oh, it's that. It's the dash attack, not your dodge roll. Gotcha, now I understand. And it appears to have quite a long reload time. And my parrot is going to insult me and my enemies the entire time, which, I mean, I couldn't really ask for anything other than that. That's a pretty effective cannon, I like that. It breaks shields and everything. So, yeah, every class does actually have its different gameplay style and synergizes differently with item sets and things. Obviously, the Barbarian, you're wanting to get big, slow weapons because it has a high strength modifier, so they do even more damage. A class like this is a little squishier. Maybe you want quicker weapons in general. Oh god. This cannon thing is pretty sweet, though. Although it takes a while to reload. Oh god! You've also even got a hit system, like a combo system. Every time you rack up a number of hits, it increases your damage and crit chance while the combo is going on. And you can even throw dudes off of things, bridges, and things like that to kill them instantly, including these big troll giant-like enemies if you actually are able to do so, but of course you have to be careful not to throw yourself off. And getting drunk on a bridge is probably not a good idea, so I'm not going to drink that rum right now. I can see myself horribly dying. There's even another class, the Battle Mage, that apparently actually has 4 different spells that it uses with its dodge button that allows you to basically cast versatile magic all the time. Sounds cool. I'm definitely excited to unlock and try more of the classes. The classes are unlocked via a challenge system, very much like achievements. You do certain things. Yeah, now my parrot's gonna make fun of me. Stupid parrot. And essentially, if you get enough of these goals in the right amount of time, you will be able to unlock more classes as you go. Alright, there's a Warlock as well, which sounds interesting. Demons and such. That one's nice. You can throw things really far. Magic Book. Firecrackers. Jumping that sounds awesome, but unfortunately I have peg legs, so I can't equip that. And I also can't use this because I have the rum. If I drink the rum, does it go away? Yeah, so I can equip something else. Now I'm drunk. Great. Ooh. Also, I do like how a lot of the items you get actually show on your character. Even if you get things like bombs, you can actually see them on your character's belt. And those gloves, you can actually see armor you can see that as well. And even the peg legs are visible as the pirate. So yeah, there's a lot of attention and love that's been put into this game. Rake In Grass clearly knew what they were going for and were able to pull it off very, very well, and I'm very happy for them. Hopefully we'll see more support for this game, which, I mean, there's just recently been an update for bug fixes and some extra stuff, and I would actually love to see a sort of DLC expansion to this, maybe adding some new areas, new classes and items and stuff like that, now that they've had more money and time to actually work on it. And I think a lot of people would agree. So, this is Rampage Knights, everyone. I would highly recommend you check it out if you're at all interested in brawlers, RPG elements, roguelites, whatever it may be. The game covers a pretty good number of genres and does it very, very well. It's got its own unique spin, interesting art style and sense of humor, and it's just a combination that's not really been done before, and you've got to commend them on doing something different with what's becoming popular. So yeah, check it out. 12 bucks on Steam, not pricey at all. I think you will get a lot of satisfying times out of this if you are interested in brawlers, and it's one of the best brawlers, I think, that I've played, I've got to say, because it really nails it for me. As someone who loves variety in games, it's got that. It's got that in spades for me, and if you feel the same, give it a shot. Okay, kill him. There we go. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.